Did you know that in 1917, Russia experienced a revolution that led to the downfall of its government and the rise of communism? Well, if you don't know, here's a quick summary of the Russian Revolution. The Russian Revolution was a series of political events that took place in Russia in 1917 that resulted in the overthrow of the Romanov dynasty and the establishment of the world's first communist state. There were actually two revolutions. The first one took place in February and the second one in October. But before we get into that, let's talk about the setting. Russia was ruled by a king named Nicholas II. He had taken the throne in 1894, and his wife Alexandra was the daughter of a British king. Together, they had 5 children. Now, Nicholas wasn't really a bad king. In fact, he was very popular at the beginning of his reign. But he made the fatal mistake of taking Russia into World War I. Now, World War I was not going well for Russia. They were losing lots of soldiers, and the Russian people were getting fed up with it. On top of that, there was a food shortage, and the price of bread was going up. So in February of 1917, the people of Russia, mostly women, took to the streets to protest. They were calling for an end to the war and an end to the high price of bread. King Nicholas tried to put down the rebellion, but his soldiers refused to fire on the protesters, so he had no choice but to step down. This was the first revolution. It wasn't really a violent one. It was more of a peaceful protest that ended up with the king losing his throne. Now, after the king was forced to abdicate, a provisional government was set up and elections were held. The elections were won by the Socialist Revolutionary Party, but the next largest party was a group of Marxist revolutionaries led by a man named Vladimir Lenin. Now, this group didn't win the most seats, but they did have the most influence. Why? Because they had the best propaganda. Their slogan was peace, land, and bread, and it appealed to the war-weary Russians who just wanted the fighting to end. Anyway, the provisional government was led by Alexander Kerensky. He was a member of the Socialist Revolutionary Party. Now Kerensky was a pacifist, and he didn't want to continue fighting World War I. So he tried to make peace with Germany. But when he did that, Lenin said that Russia was being betrayed and that the only way to end the war was to pull out of it completely. So Lenin and his group of radical Marxists took over the government in what is known as the October Revolution. Again, the slogan, peace, land, and bread, won the day. So that's the Russian Revolution in a nutshell. If you want to learn more about it, there are plenty of resources available. Just do a quick Google search. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.